Epstein binder coming out, Tesla in competition with Uber, and some more news. We got a lot of news for you guys today. We're gonna be going through news, showing you guys supports and resistance, going through the market, and what I think about the overall market. To start, we still have around 1.5 hours of market open, so keep that in mind while making this video and looking at the charts. With that being said, the weekly, we are still pretty red, except for some health and technology. A little bit of financial sectors and consumer and non-durables is green for the week. But with that being said, for the day, we are pretty neutral for some, pretty green for some finance and, the consumers. And then the technology sector, we are pretty red in um, the technology and electrical. With that being said, we did have Nvidia's earnings last night and we're down 5%. We were kind of neutral throughout pre-market hours, and now we're down 5%, which is bringing down the SPY. And we're going to be talking more about SPY levels and stuff like that. We did just have another dip and a good buying opportunity for put. I'll be explaining how I got into my put option and how long I'm willing to hold it for and what I'm really doing. But I'll show that a little bit later when we look at the SPY charts. We got some other stocks down. But to start, let's talk about some news. So to start off with right now, the Nvidia reported earnings, and the earnings were pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie, but with that being said, I think the outlook on Nvidia overall, I think you need very, very hype numbers. Everybody was hoping on Nvidia being the saving grace, but in reality, it wasn't. With that being said, we did have the AI market kind of being under pressure, and AI in general, especially with the tariffs that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. We got some new news on tariffs. Tesla stock struggles. We got some Federal Reserve updates, interest rates. I think there's like a 4.0 or something like that rate cut coming out soon. I think we're still set for around June or July for a rate cut, potentially. By the way, potentially. It's not official, but potentially. So the performance today, the Dow Jones average rose by 0.83%. The SPY had a little bit of an uptick of 0.08%, and the NASDAQ declined by 0.046%. With that being said, we got Nvidia's earnings, like I said before. They released its quarterly earnings, surpassing analysts' expectations, were 78% surge in revenue, totaling $39.33. And despite the impressive performance, the company's stocks experienced volatility, declining by 2.8% due to concerns over potential competition from emerging AI technologies. Investors are closely monitoring how these developments might impact Nvidia's market position and future profitability. With that being said, keep in mind that other chip stocks like Microsoft and stuff like that, they're actually trying to make their own chip. And I think today there's an announcement of a quantum chip that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later with, I think, Amazon, I think. I don't remember which one. We're going to be looking at it a little bit later. I think it was with Amazon. I got the news in a minute. Some trade tariff announcements. So President Trump announced a 25% tariffs on European imports, and Europe said that they're going to try to retaliate too. So that's kind of bringing down market certainty. And Canada also said the same thing. If they do fully come out with it, they're going to have a retaliation too. Some European automotive stocks that will kind of like go down with this is BMW, Porsche. They already have significant stock drops, and a potential for a trade war raises concerns about global economic growth and its ripple effects on various sectors. So keep that in mind. So we did have jobless claims come out. They increased 22,000 to 242,000, or basically just rise to 242,000, the highest since December. And the uptick suggests potential softening in the labor market, kind of promoting that the broader economic outlook. And additionally, the Federal Reserve's cautious stance on interest rates, influenced by inflation concerns, continues to shape investor sentiment and market dynamics. So this did kind of show that the jobless claims went up, and it's up a high amount. With that being said, we do have SPY trading near the flat line as Trump affirms the tariffs coming out and Nvidia turns red. So Nvidia is kind of bringing down the market a little bit, especially with it looking red. So with that being said, we do have, so yesterday Trump kind of announced that it's going to be April 2nd, I think, for the tariffs, but it kind of came out officially that it's still going to be next week, I think on the 4th of March. So keep that on your mind. Yeah, so that's kind of bringing down the market. And China tariffs is an additional 10% now. So it kind of went up a little bit. So yeah, March 4th on the tariffs, by the way. Sorry, I messed that up. I didn't see that. But that being said, this does say March 4th, but I also seen something else saying March 2nd. So keep that on your mind and on your radar for the future. We also got Tesla kind of saying no to a Nissan deal because I think Tesla or Elon Musk said on X that he could invest into the financially troubled Japanese automaker, but he officially said no today. So Nissan isn't really looking too bad because of that, but Tesla is falling a decent amount. We're gonna be talking more about that when we get on the charts. They ended its gene therapy, and they basically just said the cost of launching it will be more than their profits. Basically, it's just gonna be more money and stuff like that, and it's just gonna bring down their stock price if they do launch it. So they kind of just canceled this. Pfizer's down like 1% today, but it's not too bad. And yeah, some tariff news. So basically, March 4th, the deadline. So it's not really. I mean, he said multiple times showing that it will be the second, but we got some news today saying that the 4th is the deadline and that it's going to be official on the 4th. So we're kind of still like in between, like a loop. Like, is it going to be on the 4th? Is it going to be in April? Like, when is it going to be? So keep this on your mind for the tariffs because this can bring the market down, especially if there's retaliations. So if you guys are trading, just be very cautious. Being said, a little side note, we seen that there are more North Korean troops sent to Russia. So I don't know if that's going to bring up war tensions or not. And YouTube beats out the Spotify as a podcast platform with 1 billion users, and they basically have bigger payouts for creators. But with that being said, there is some like Google is going down and is in a constant bearish trend. We're gonna be looking at that a little bit later. But if you really think about Google, a lot of times you have platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms kind of taking over YouTube a little bit. Not really taking it too much, but a lot of people are using TikTok and stuff more, especially with TikTok being out. Also, with that being said, Google search, which is what they get a lot of their numbers on for their ads, Google search is kind of getting replaced by ChatGPT. Honestly, I personally use ChatGPT for researching things fast, and it basically uses Google search to research everything, and it finds everything that you really need and it puts it all in one search, So I think ChatGPT is kind of taking over Google search too. So you got to keep that in mind for the future numbers and the future competition for Google and Alphabet in total. Alphabet is kind of falling right now, and that is kind of a reason why, but also just other things too. But keep that on your mind with that. That being said, Microsoft is calling on Trump to change the overly complex Biden era AI chip restrictions. But I don't think that he's really going to do that because he kind of made it more direct that he wants to restrict it more a couple days ago. So I don't think that this is going to change anything. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's kind of a lot of drama with the market. We see the market red, we see the market green sometimes, but we've been consistently red for the past week. So it's kind of bad. Oh, SPY dropped even more. SPY just dropped below the 590. So basically, I scoped out a put option. So basically, I just made this little trend line right here. And I kind of noticed that it was just consistently falling. But with that being said, I did see it kind of spike up a little bit. I think Trump's going to be speaking a little bit later. But with that being said, I scoped out this trade. It was either going to be a day trade or a swing trade. It might end up being a day trade because of how much it fell. The past couple of Fridays, we've been falling a decent amount. So I was just going to scope out this trade for like a overnight trade and then have it sitting for Friday also. But with that being said, we are falling a decent amount. We broke below that 590 level. But with that being said, I do recommend looking at that 590 level now, especially for tomorrow, since tomorrow's a sell-off. We might even see it down at the 580s. I do recommend looking at that 580 level. With that being said, let's go into 4-hour time frame so we can get you guys some better supports and resistance. So that 590 is going to be key. If we can break above that, we might break above that, maybe get a little bit of bullish sentiment, just depending on how the Trump meeting goes and some more news that we get before. I really think that we're probably going to be maybe 591, 592, and then get a big bounce, just like we've seen. Just with history, basically, every Friday it's been dropping. So literally just going to play based on that. But with that being said, another key level to look at is that 585 level. And then down below that 585 level, I do recommend looking at that 580 level, and then down to that 579 level, and down even more to that 575 level. We might get a bounce off that 575 if we go all the way low. I don't think we're going to fall that much, but we still have a lot of room to move with the overall SPY. If you guys want to see a bearish trend, it's going to be 20% down on the SPY. So keep that on your mind. But honestly, we've been falling a decent amount with trade tensions. A lot of people are getting scared over the tariffs now. They're getting a little bit more aggressive, and war tensions with everything that's going on with the overall economy. So keep that on your mind. Apple honestly is looking pretty bearish too. But we do have another green candle printing. Depending on how the candle prints, we might hit a bottom at 240. But with that being said, as tomorrow being a sell-off day, we might have another green candle print. Maybe print at that 241, 242 by the end of the day. And then we might print lower tomorrow on Friday with that Friday sell-off. With that being said, it's not 100% certain that we're going to sell off tomorrow, but with how the market's looking this week and today, honestly, I think we're going to be falling down even lower. So with that being said, with Apple, I do recommend looking at that 240 level first. If we can break below that, 238, and then 235, 234, 233, and then that 230 level. I don't think we're going to fall that much in one day, but keep that on your mind and on your radar. We got Nvidia falling down a decent amount, especially with earnings not really looking too bright. Everybody was expecting Nvidia to, spike on their earnings. But with that being said, I do recommend looking at that 120 level, that 118 level, that 116 and 115. 115 is going to be kind of key. 116 and 115 is going to be two key levels. We might see a big bounce off of that. But if we bounce down even lower, we might even see 112, 110, and then maybe even break below that $100 level, just because of how the market's looking overall. But with that being said, we're not really in a constant bearish trend. We are in a bearish trend right now for this week, of course. But with that being said, I do recommend looking at that 116 to 115 to have a buy if you guys want to get into a long term. But do just watch how the levels work. Take your time, have patience, and then if it bounces above that and we get maybe a $1 to $2 push, and then green consistently, I'm gonna see at least 2 green candles, maybe even in the 4-hour time frame. That's how I'm gonna do it, just because it's a long term. But with that being said, if we keep on bouncing down lower, I might buy like a little bit, might buy like 20% of what I want to invest in Nvidia at 110, and then if it keeps bouncing down below, just dollar cost average 105 and then 100. And if we bounce below 100, I'm probably gonna put all of what I want in my long term into Nvidia. I did recently get out of my long term in Nvidia. I think when I hit that 140 recently, so I'm just going to consistently buy and sell Nvidia until we're in a constant bullish trend. Honestly, I don't recommend doing that in long terms. You guys should hold it just for as long as you want, but honestly, it just makes you a little bit more money overall. You got Palantir down. We're down at the 85 now. With that being said, we are at a key level that we bounced off of previously, so that 85 is going to be key to look at. I think honestly, with the way Nvidia and everything is looking right now, I think Palantir can bounce down even lower. So look at that $80 level, and then that $75 level, and that $70 level. But Palantir is still a great stock and a great company. And I honestly think that it's going to be up later on, but just give it some time. And like I said, with that Nvidia, just watch it fall down and then finally buy it. But don't be too late when you get into the dip buy, because sometimes it's too late to get into the dip buy. It's just like people selling, you get greedy selling, you get greedy with that dip buy, you're probably going to be too late. Another one is Tesla. I was going to play on Tesla, but I actually got an MSTR. I can talk about that a little bit later, but I did that today. I think I made 100%, I think, on that one, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But with that being said, I did kind of scope it out, but it was kind of too late. I was going to try to buy a put option when it was at its highest peak at around that 297 level. But honestly, when I looked at it, this candle has already printed. You could have still gotten to a decent trade here, but I just thought it was too late, and I didn't see too many bad news, and it was already around that 290 level. But once it broke that 290, it would have been a great time to get in. But sometimes it fluctuates. Like as you see today, it kind of fluctuated around that 290 a little bit. A lot of volatility around it. But with that being said, you could have scoped out a decent trade up here and then just played a put option, waited a little bit. I would have probably sold it at that 285 level, and then just to be safe, because sometimes it bounces up. But if you would have got lucky, you could have sold it at that 280 level, which is kind of insane. But that 280 level is going to be key to look at because we bounced off of it earlier. So 280 and then 275 and then 270. Just like I said yesterday with that 290 level, I think I said yesterday with the 290, once it breaks that 290, it's going to go down to 280. And look, we're at that 280. So it's probably going to be the same thing. Honestly, if we continue bearish, just watch that 280 level. Once we break that 280 level, we might even go to that 270 level and just consistently fall down until we get some good news with Tesla and good news with the market overall. With that being said, I think the quantum news is actually on here. All right, so basically they have the Oclet quantum chip. It's the latest tech and a giant move into the space basically. So with that being said, I thought this was going to be great news, but really it's probably not because of how everything's moving and the chip stocks aren't even up. But with that being said, quantum computers is like a big transformation. Basically, this is how I explain it. Just imagine a maze, right? So the normal computer, and I think even ChatGPT is going to analyze, everything separately, and it's going to take you a little bit longer to get you the path out, right? So it's going to do each path separate. Maybe you'll get lucky and the first path is a path out, but it's going to do each path out of that maze separately. But a quantum computer, they're basically going to do every single way out or every single path all at once. So basically, quantum computers are just way faster than normal computers. You can get your results way faster. So basically, let's say if a pharmaceutical company is trying to look for a cure to something, so it's going to basically do it all at once rather than a computer analyzing different things separately. I guess to explain, if you guys have any questions, you guys can comment down below. That's kind of what a quantum computer is. And with them coming out with a chip, I thought it was going to spike up their stock a little bit more. I think with the news, nah, I don't think it really did, because I think the news probably came out here because I seen it pre-market actually. So pre-market, it kind of did decent, but I think honestly, just with how the market's moving and everything, it's just not really moving too good. Same thing with Google. Basically, Google's just been falling. I mean, every stock honestly has been falling, but you see more stocks like Google, Amazon, stuff like that just consistently falling. Tesla consistently falling. You got some like Nvidia, but Nvidia I think it was just hype with the earnings, so you're probably gonna see Nvidia consistently falling also. That being said, we do still have a consistent fall with Google. I was gonna try to get into a put option today, but honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's a good positioning right now, but you could probably still get yourself into a put option if you guys really wanted to. But honestly, I think it's too late at this low. I think honestly, just watch what it's been bouncing off of, and if it can bounce up a little bit more, it could probably be a good time to get in. But basically, we've just been bouncing on this line all day. So if you can get it at this high right here at around 173, probably get into a little put option there just to be safe. But honestly, you just be very, very careful with this. With that being said, Bitcoin is falling even more, which is insane. We were falling consistently. We did have kind of a comeback, but not really. And then we started falling even more. So I think Bitcoin, man, you might even see. I think 2 days ago we seen it fall below 90,000, and then now we've seen 85,000. So we might even see 80,000 tonight. So keep that one on your mind for Bitcoin. But with that being said, MSTR, like I was saying before, I was going to look into a play for MSTR. I think the play was already here. I think when I was looking at the put option, I think it was around this candle. I think it was like green at first. And then I think that's when I bought a put option at 265. And then I had the sell order at around 255, I think. I just wanted like a $10 move, and it hit. Honestly, it was like a 10-minute trade, but I made 100% on that trade. It was pretty decent scout, just because of how Bitcoin was moving. I did it based on Bitcoin because Bitcoin was consistently falling still. So keep that on your mind. Like, we had a big candlestick. I think it was this move right here, but that's kind of the play that I did beginning of the day, was this play right here, put option, because I thought it was pretty high. So yeah, so honestly, if you guys want to scout some things out right now, you can scout some puts. I do recommend, since we're in a falling market, focus on puts, but you can also do calls too. Calls can make you a decent amount of money, but honestly, I don't recommend it right now. Just how everything's moving. You got Netflix down. We were at that $1,000 level literally today at market open, and we fell all the way down $30. You could have probably made a decent amount of money off a put option for Netflix. But honestly, I think Netflix is just really market flow right now, just how people are uncertain about everything. They're just selling everything basically. Because Netflix, they don't really have tariffs or anything like that. So I think Netflix is a safer stock, but at the same time, the way it's moving, it doesn't look too safe yet. But we have been constantly falling ever since like it hit that 106 or 1,060. So I do recommend being patient for Netflix, but I think Netflix is one of those safer plays because it doesn't really get affected by tariffs. But keep this on your mind too. But with that being said, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. The video is kind of kind of yapping more and kind of just like my ideas and how I think the market is looking. But comment W if you watch till the end. I love you guys, and peace out.